the total initiative relative to what we're going to do with more Border Patrol and more asylum officers.
President Trump?
I really don't know what he said at the end of that sentence. I don't think he knows what he said either. Look.
Making sure that we're able to make every single solitary person eligible for what I've been able to do with the COVID. Excuse me, with dealing with everything we had to do with. Look, if we finally beat Medicare.
Thank you, President Biden. President Trump?
I'm playing this at the beginning of the video and I'm going to put this in when it comes up in the video. But I am sure I can hear bullets being fired while Ron is dead on the ground. You'll have to tell me what you think. I've recorded it a few times. They seem to be oblivious to these bullets. And the officer who's gone into the house is totally different to the one that's got the gun and killed him. But I just find it incredible. I don't know. Tell me what you think. In this little bit of footage when she comes round, and I'm really sorry that that's supposed to be Ron lying there on the ground, I'm pretty sure you can hear other shots being fired. I'm going to play the video and then I'm going to play it louder. It sounds like other bullets are being fired, but Ron is dead there. What happened this day? Listen to it.
I think there's a
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Henry County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I think there's a
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Henry County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I think there's a
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Henry County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
Hello everyone, I'm Lieutenant Ryan Flood, Public Information Officer at the Greenville County Sheriff's Office. This critical incident community briefing will provide you with information about an officer-involved shooting that occurred on June 15, 2024. The information in this video will give you a better understanding of what we know right now in the investigation. The Greenville County Sheriff's Office conducts comprehensive investigations relating to officer-involved shootings, and these investigations may require our team of investigators to conduct multiple interviews, review audio and video recordings, and possibly analyze forensic evidence.
We have her talking. What she says is that some gunshots were fired next to her house. She didn't live right next to Ron. She lived so many gardens up. She heard and smelt the gun. She said there were 6 bullets. But we know that Ron was killed with 12 bullets. We've got the footage on here of the police officer murdering. But we have her.
My boyfriend was in the backyard with the dogs, and then we heard 6 gunshots. I came rushing out and we saw a cop car that came around the corner without his lights on. And then that's when we heard the chase. It sounded like a bunch of cop cars were chasing around the neighborhood. But it sounded so close that it sounded like it was behind our fence, and you can smell the gun go off. Like, I could smell it, like it was fresh. So we thought it was there, and we just like kind of watched the chase. And then at that time it took less than 10 minutes and there was 10 cop cars down the street.
Not only do we have her, oh yes, this is what Ron looks like. So in a second we see a different picture of Ron. I don't know if it's the same person or not. His aunt didn't think that really looked like him, but who knows. Well, what to say. But anyway, we're now going to play the other 2 bits of footage we've got. One, how did they get Ron talking before they've answered the phone? And the other one is, there are extra bullets being shot when Ron is dead on the ground So the story they're giving is not real. Something is very wrong.
Please turn it down. I can see you ain't doing nothing. You're getting off on it apparently. Please.
Greenville County 911. What's the location of your emergency?
Please, dude. I'm begging.
I think there's a
Sheriff's Office.
sounded like a female.
Greenville County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I think there's a
Sheriff's Office.
sounded like a female.
Greenville County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
Our office does not draw any conclusions about whether the deputy's actions were consistent with our policy and in accordance with the law until the investigation has been thoroughly completed. It is important to note that while the investigation is still ongoing, our understanding and determination of the incident might change in the event new information is brought forth and new evidence is discovered. A brief disclaimer: the content you're about to see and hear may be disturbing to some viewers. When deputies are put in a position that requires them to use physical force to effect an arrest or defend themselves against an attack, the actions can be graphic and difficult to watch. Additionally, some of the language heard in this video might be viewed as strong and offensive. Viewer discretion is advised, especially for young children and sensitive viewers. On June 15th at approximately 7:39 p.m., the Greenville County Communications Center received a 911 call from 51 Arch Street. The caller was heard talking and making unclear comments. The caller was seemingly upset on the line and was believed to be talking to someone. Here is a playback recording of that 911 call.
Please turn it down. I can see you ain't doing nothing. You're getting off on it apparently. Please.
Greenville County 911. What's the location of your emergency?
Please, dude. I'm begging you, man.
Do you understand what I mean? If Ron is calling in, so you're listening to him having a conversation as he's calling in, how can they record it until they pick up in that conversation with Ron? You can hear him calling and you can hear him talking before the 911 person picks up the call. So what is going on here? This is not correct. Oh my God, it's just disgusting. What is going on? What has happened? What is all this? There's no way you would hear Ron talking to someone, calling them up before they'd answered the phone.
Please turn it down. I can see you ain't doing nothing. You're getting off on it apparently. Please.
Greenville County 911. What's the location of your emergency?
Please, dude. I'm begging you, man. Turn my fucking mouth for your goddamn ego, motherfucker. Turn it down.
Sir,
Come on.
hello?
No, good. You ain't getting fair. No, I'll take you. I'm a man. I did wrong.
Sir,
I ain't get
hello?
murdered for your ego. I mean, I'm not, but I ain't doing right dick in
Hello?
it. You can sit here and just, it ain't happening. Fuck
Sir.
that shit.
Sir, hello?
Can't be fair, man.
911, hello? Hello?
Can't be fair. Seriously, fair. It's fair. Turn the motherfucker down so he can talk, man. So I quit burning like I think.
Hello, 911?
Come on, man.
911, hello?
Come on, man. I don't need to go this too out there. It's going to be tied up in the night. It don't have to be. Everything can be just right. But what do you eat? I'm good.
For the next several minutes, the caller continues speaking. However, it is unclear who he is talking to or what he is saying. Roughly 4 minutes and 39 seconds into the call, the caller is heard continuing to speak, and shortly after, the call taker believed to have heard gunshots.
Please turn my human spirit and soul in my ego, you know what I mean? Well, I'm telling you, I've had enough. There's mercy. I've had enough uncle. What do you want me to say? What do you want me to say? I've used that word I know to mean submit. I put a white flag out there of it. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, dude. Your fucking ego's all right now. It ain't. It's egotistical now. Now it's what we're doing. I mean, really, I'm sorry. What do you want me to do? I'm not going to sit here and just die for your ego. And act like it's okay, because it ain't okay. I'm not dying. I ain't doing it okay with it. I ain't going to be okay with it. I know you understand. I don't want no problems. If I took it, would be okay, you know what I mean? I never thought That's what it was worth, you know what I mean? I never thought that, you know what I mean? I never thought that. That's worth that.
Sir, hello? Sir, hello?
At approximately 7:44 p.m., the first deputy arrived on location and upon approach to the residence, heard gunfire coming from inside. The deputy retreated behind cover and waited for backup to arrive. Once the backup deputy arrived, the suspect was observed exiting the house and began shooting in the direction of the home. Here is body camera footage from that deputy.
Raleigh, team 1049, brother. God, hey. It's coming from inside the house. Got a couple more. Someone can come up from the Pendleton. Just hold what you got. We don't.
As the backup deputy approached the residence, he observed the suspect armed with a long gun. Fearing he was shooting at someone inside the home, he fired at the suspect, striking him as a result. We will now transition to this deputy's body camera.
Alpha, 1041 Alpha, 1031 Bravo. Suspects down. Suspects down. 1041 Alpha. No, I can't. No, hold it. We need to hold this guy.
Unit 1041 Alpha, Bravo 1851 Arch Street.
Greenville Bravo 37, I need you to get online with that 1024 and see what we got going on here. We have a white male down. He had a rifle. He was firing into the house, yelling at somebody. We have no idea if a victim's inside. Hey, we need to push up. We need to see if we got a victim here. Let's go.
Fearing there was a potential victim inside, a contingency of deputies secured the suspect while other deputies searched the property, and to no avail, as no victim or any other person was located in or on the property.
I think there's a... Sounded like a female.
I'm playing this at the beginning of the video and I'm going to put this in when it comes up in the video, but I am sure I can hear bullets being fired while Ron is dead on the ground. You'll have to tell me what you think. I've recorded it a few times. They seem to be oblivious to these bullets. And the officer who's gone into the house is totally different to the one that's got the gun and killed him. But I just find it incredible. I don't know. Tell me what you think. In this little bit of footage when she comes round, and I'm really sorry that that's supposed to be Ron lying there on the ground, I'm pretty sure you can hear other shots being fired. I'm going to play the video and then I'm going to play it louder. It sounds like other bullets are being fired, but Ron is dead there. What happened this day? Listen to it.
I think there's a...
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I think there's a...
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I think there's a...
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
Following the shooting, in standard with the Greenville County Sheriff's Office protocol, agents from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division were requested to respond to the scene to investigate the shooting. The suspect, identified as 55-year-old Ronald Dean Hillier, was pronounced deceased on scene. His loaded semi-automatic rifle was collected by SLED agents and seized as evidence.
Hello, I'm Sheriff Hobart Lewis. Consistent with any officer-involved shooting, agents from the South Carolina Law Enforcement Division were requested to conduct an investigation, and along with the 13th Circuit Solicitor's Office will continue their investigation to determine if the deputy's actions complied with the law. In a parallel investigation, the GCSO Office of Professional Standards conducted an internal review to determine if the deputy's actions were consistent with the strict standards outlined in our agency's use of force policy. After their investigation, the Office of Professional Standards determined the sole deputy who fired their weapon was justified to use deadly force according to the Sheriff's Office use of force policy. If you would like further information on our use of force policy, please visit our website at gcso.org. Click on the General Orders link found under the Resource tab. Thank you for taking the time to view this critical incident community briefing.
We have her talking. What she says is that some gunshots were fired next to her house. She didn't live right next to Ron. She lived so many gardens up. She heard and smelt the gun. She said there were 6 bullets, but we know that Ron was killed with 12 bullets. We've got the footage on here of the police officer murdering. But we have her.
My boyfriend was in the backyard with the dogs, and then we heard 6 gunshots. I came rushing out and we saw a cop car that came around the corner without his lights on. And then that's when we heard the chase. It sounded like a bunch of cop cars were chasing around the neighborhood. But it sounded so close that it sounded like it was behind our fence, and you can smell the gun go off. Like, I could smell it, like it was fresh. So we thought it was there, and we just like kind of watched the chase. And then at that time, it took less than 10 minutes and there was 10 cop cars down the street.
Not only do we have her, oh yes, this is what Ron looks like. So in a second we see a different picture of Ron. I don't know if it's the same person or not. His aunt didn't think that really looked like him, but who knows. Well, what to say. But anyway, we're now going to play the other 2 bits of footage we've got. One, how did they get Ron talking before they've answered the phone? And the other one is, there are extra bullets being shot when Ron is dead on the ground, so the story they're giving is not real. Something is very wrong.
Please turn it down. I can think you ain't doing nothing. You're just getting off on it apparently. Please.
Greenville County 911, what's the location of your emergency?
Please, dude, I'm begging.
I think there's a...
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I think there's a...
Sheriff's Office.
Sounded like a female.
Liberty County Sheriff's Office. Make yourself known.
I know I've gone on a little bit about the Ron case, but there's been a little bit of a development. This is one of the people that I've been talking to, his friend, Ashley. and also I've been talking to his aunt. But look what she sent me today.
So I have a little bit of news for you. I'm going to send you what I seen this morning where they said that they were acquitted. Like basically they were in the right for shooting him. But somebody brought it to their attention other than me on YouTube, and this is the response that we got.
There now is a couple of articles. One looks like it's in the newspaper, or they look like they're in newspapers, but they're articles on the internet saying that the police didn't do things properly. So Ashley sent me these, and then I found these on the internet all talking about Ron. So let's just have a look at them. So this is just in the order that they came from her. It says, a screenshot from the body camera footage of the deputy who shot 55-year-old Ronald Belia from 54 yards away, more than half the length of a football field, without announcing that they were there. Greenville newly released body camera footage shows a Greenville County Sheriff's deputy shoot a man 13 times from half a football field length away without calling out he or another deputy were on the scene. It's quite important because the sheriff said that they told Ron they were there and to put his gun down, and they didn't. This is why we wait a solid 45 days for the investigation to be thoroughly conducted, spokesman Lieutenant Ryan Flood told the newspaper. Any statement provided on the scene of a crime is given with the best information received at the time. Clips of the body camera footage were made public on the 30th of July under the Sheriff's Office's community briefing policy, which calls for publishing curated accounts of major incidents where a deputy shot someone 45 days after they occur. Body camera footage isn't subject to public records laws in South Carolina. Somebody put, why not? If they've got cameras on and they're recording it, how can you not use their footage? Though law enforcement agencies can choose to release all or part. Around 8 p.m. on the 15th of June, a 911 call comes from the Behilia home, blah blah blah, where he's arguing with what sounded, it's a bit over the place, it's not following, but we will carry on because I've got a few more of them. But these are the remarks. Sheriff's previous remarks by saying information relayed on scene is fluid and evolves as the investigation unfolds. This is why we wait 45 days. Rah, rah, rah. So let's go on to the next one. Sheriff Hobart Lewis, who needs to resign, had said in a media briefing after the shooting that deputies challenged 55-year-old Roland Behilia to drop his gun and started firing into his home. Lewis said Behilia pointed his gun at the deputies and they had to shoot him. Behilia died as a result of the shooting, but the body camera footage shows Behilia never pointed his gun at the deputies, nor did they challenge him or even announce they were there. See, he was murdered. They murdered him. And I am glad, this one's on Reddit, but I am glad that people are making a few posts about it. Body cam video contradicts sheriff's initial claims after deputy shoots, kills man at his house. Newly released body camera footage shows a Greenville County Sheriff deputy shoot a man 13 times from half a football field length away without calling out that he or another deputy were on the scene. Sheriff Hobart Lewis had said in a media briefing after the shooting that the deputies challenged 55-year-old Ronald Behilia to drop the gun and stop into his home. Lewis said Behilia pointed his gun at the deputies and they had to shoot him. Behilia died as the result of the shooting. Body camera footage isn't subject to public records laws in South Carolina, though law enforcement agencies can choose to release all or parts. That's wild to me. A public servant filming their interactions with the public, but the footage isn't public record. And then obviously there's a couple of comments there. This should absolutely be a law change. This is wild. That's banana and needs to change. And then that's wild to me. This is why it's important for people to film their interactions as well. Police will be frequently say, "It's all good, we're recording," to try to get people to stop filming. That's very interesting, isn't it? On to the next one. Yeah, and this one says down there, throwaway, "A crooked-ass sheriff in charge of a crooked-ass sheriff's department not telling the truth. No way." To the next one. See, and this is the Post and Courier, which is a newspaper. Greenville, newly released body camera footage shows a Greenville County Sheriff's deputy shoot a man 13 times from half a football field length away without calling out that he or another deputy were on the scene. Sheriff Hobart Lewis had said in a media briefing after the shooting that all deputies challenged 55-year-old Ronald Bahillia to drop his gun and stop firing into his home. Lewis said Bahillia pointed his gun at the deputies and they had to shoot him. But he died, obviously, at the scene. He said in the briefing that it's challenged, but the camera footage shows Bahillia never pointed his gun at the deputies, nor did they challenge him, or even announce they were there. That is cold-blooded murder. Because in that, what do you call him? The policeman's mind, he's thinking, oh, there's a hostage in that house. He's shooting. I've got to kill him, without checking anything. And obviously, I'm going to talk about 3 more things again. Anyway, that's what that says. And another bit. Lewis declined to answer questions from the Post and Courier, instead deferring to the spokesman, who walked back to the sheriff's previous remarks by saying, "Information relayed on this scene is fluid and evolves as the investigation unfolds." But he says in that footage that police officer is exonerated. But he can't be, and neither can the sheriff. So, clips of the butcher on the 30th YouTube, blah blah, which calls for publishing curated major accounts. I mean, it is the same report as the other one. There you go. There's a few more pictures of information. I mean, it's sort of repeating the same thing. They said that Rod was arguing with someone, but they didn't check. There was no one else there. The deputy who has been identified drove to Billy's house and parked down the road, lights off, and slowly approached from the side. 7 gunshots rang out from inside the home. The deputy screamed and ran back behind the cover of a parked truck, which we saw in the video. Seconds later, a second deputy arrived on the scene, drew his duty rifle and aimed it towards the house. Well, aimed it at Ron. "Just hold what you've got," the first deputy said. The second deputy in the video, they were both, "Just hold what you've got." They were both standing behind or near the truck for cover. Bahillia walked out, rifle in hand, did he, and fired into the house. The second deputy fired at Bahillia from 54 yards away, 13 seconds after arriving on the scene. So how could he grasp what's going on? A passing car drives by where Bahillia is standing just feet from the road, with 13 shots ran out, and that was my next point. In the video, you can see, I'm sure there's 2, if there's probably more, but I definitely saw 2 cars driving past inches away from where they shot Ron. So that police officer turned up, did not look at the whole situation, didn't shut the road off so that nobody could come down the road, just got his gun and fired it at Ron without asking any questions. That's what's sort of saying what's happening. And then he says, "We had no idea if we needed to push up." Yeah, right. You murdered Ron. Yeah. So they were at the house while Ron is lying on the ground. Nobody else was found. Bahillia was firing at anybody, and it's unclear why he was firing in the first place. He was pronounced dead at the scene. So his aunt said he didn't have that gun. It's like a a semi-automatic gun. It's quite big, like a kind of gun. So that's there, but it's not at Ron's feet. It's over there. So that's one thing. They did not secure the road. They never found out what was really happening, and they reacted rather than finding out what was happening. I'm sorry, they're out of control. That's what I see. In the media briefing after shooting, Lewis said Bahia had turned towards the deputies with his rifle after they challenged him to drop it. The body footage shows that never happened. It never happened. He was cold-blooded murdered. A little bit more information there which you can stop and read. I think that's disgusting that the sheriff is going to protect that officer when he knows that he did not stop Ron or ask. No one said anything to him. They just shot him. So they didn't secure the road. They didn't check what was happening. The guy just gets his gun out and shoots him 13 times in cold blood. That's what I see. That officer should be arrested. And the sheriff should resign for lying, because he said that it happened in a certain way and it didn't. Also, if they are recording the phone calls, how come we hear Ron talking before the responder has picked the phone up? So you hear Ron talking, it ringing, and then the responder. That cannot be true. That piece of footage is a lie, because they will only be able, if they are recording, they will only get Ron from the moment that phone is picked up. So that's a lie. In the video yesterday, I told you that this witness heard all this because she lives up the road from Ron, but not right next to him. And she heard all this shooting happening in her garden. She heard 6 bullets. So what were they firing at there if Ron is dead on his drive? I don't particularly like looking at all this because it's my friend who died. But when you look at that body lying there when she goes up on the other video, it's on yesterday's one, you cannot see that. I mean, he's been shot 13 times. You do not see blood on him at all. I don't know. I don't really want to see dead Ron. I don't even know if that looks like a human, to be honest. Look at the arms. But do you see any blood whatsoever? He's been annihilated with 13 bullets. Personally, when doing that report about Ron's death, how can you not mention that he's dead on the ground and that they're still firing? You can clearly hear that there are loads of other shots going off. You definitely see a car driving past. Actually, maybe there's only one, but that class, they could have killed that person. And you can hear police, you can hear the sirens going off. How can they be happy with this at all? I am so disgusted they killed my friend.
I think there's a sounded like a female. I think there's a sounded like a female.
So she's run away from him because he's firing, hidden behind the van. The other guy turns up, shoots him dead. Then they move forward. They're chit-chattering away with poor dead Ron there, not even recognising that they've murdered someone. And they're not joking exactly, but the conversation's a bit weird. And there's gunfire shots happening. There's gunshots happening. Ron is dead on the floor, but they're still firing. What the hell happened this day? All I can see is that this police unit are covering up murdering Ron for nothing. We're never going to get him back. It's disgusting. Not only do the sheriff and that police officer need to resign, they need to be prosecuted. The whole of this police unit, well, what I've watched videos, they are completely out of control. Personally, when doing that report about Ron's death, how can you not mention that he's dead on the ground and that they're still firing? You can clearly hear that there are loads of other shots going off. You definitely see a car driving past. Actually, maybe there's only one, but that class, they could have killed that person. And you can hear police, you can hear the sirens going off. How can they be happy with this at all? I am so disgusted they killed my friend.
I think there's a... Sounded like a female. I think there's a... Sounded like a female.